Did you know that at Mercer Transportation, you get paid after every load? Welcome back to another episode of Smooth Operator Trucking, where we create the dream 1 mile at a time. Today, we're going to be exposing Mercer Transportation settlements, and we're getting started right now. Mercer Transportation is a 100% owned operator company based out of Louisville, Kentucky, doing both dry van and open deck platform. Today we're going to be talking about dry van pay because that's what division I'm in. I'm on the dry van side. Mercer pays 75% of 98% of the gross, and you also get 100% of the fuel surcharge. One of the challenges that owner operators face today in this industry is finding good freight. One of the advantages of being leased on with Mercer Transportation is they have some pretty decent contract freight in a lot of areas. Now, they have a lot of spot market freight also, but their contract freight is really good. And if you know what areas to run in, you can make a really good living here. So let's look at a few examples of Mercer Transportation pay. All right, here you have, this one right here is mine, all right? This isn't great, okay? This is just showing realistically how I've done this year. A lot of time has been taken off for different various reasons, and I haven't always been to the best places, and I'm still learning the places to go to. But from January 1st this year, 2024, until August 2024, I've done $121,353. Again, that's not great, all right, on 62,523 miles. So my average rate per loaded mile is $1.94. That's actually right in par with the industry standard, maybe even a little bit lower. But again, that's just on me and not picking or choosing the correct area to run to and still learning that process. So this next example is also a guy who's at Mercer Transportation, and he's actually one of the guys who is consistently in the top 10 earners every year. Every year Mercer recognizes their top 10 earners, and this guy is consistently in that top 10. Now, from the same time frame, from January 1st until August, he's done $164,973, and he's done it in less miles. So he's done 62,327 miles. His average rate per loaded mile is $2.65. That's loaded. And that's well above the industry standard. All right, another example. This guy also is consistently in the Mercer top 10 earners, and from the same time frame, he's earned $155,542, but on 44,546 miles. $3.49 per mile is his average rate per loaded mile. That is just phenomenal. I mean, this guy is killing it. Is that the norm? Probably not, but I mean, if he can do it, you know, why can't others do it? He knows what areas to go to. He's built the relationships, and he is just out here killing it, and on less miles than I've done. So I'm going to show you another example here. Total truck pay for the month of August for a guy named, he's called TA of Trucking. All right, he's on YouTube. Go look him up. I mean, he is killing it. He's a great guy. Go check his YouTube out. Outstanding. So the last example I showed you was him. I'm going to show you an example of what he did in the month of August. In the month of August, he only did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He did 6 loads. All right, he only did 4,775 miles for the month of August, and this is dry van. His average rate per loaded mile was $3.90 per mile. All right, and you take a look here and add that up. I mean, I think it's pricing like around $17,000, $18,000, but that's amazing on just 4,775 miles. That is just amazing. All right, so now I'm going to go over my numbers for the month of August. Okay, they weren't that great. These are just my numbers. These are my realistic numbers. Again, some of this is, you know, breakdowns or time off or running to the wrong areas, you know, things of that nature. Nothing to really do with Mercer, but these are just my real numbers. Okay, all right, let's get started. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I did 7 loads in the month of August. Started off in Yakima, Washington, took that to Bolingbrook, Illinois, and then Romeoville, Illinois to Franklin, Kentucky, Berea, Kentucky to Greenville, North Carolina, Greenville, North Carolina to Tampa, Florida, Ashton City, Tennessee to Brooklyn, New York, Baltimore, Maryland to Calvert, Kentucky, and then Springdale, Arkansas to Fort Myers, Florida. All right, and let's see here, for the month of August, I grossed $16,393.57. My total book miles was 7,373. Paid miles was $2.22 per mile, which it's not bad, you know. I mean, it's above the industry standard right now. My total miles paid, or excuse me, my total miles altogether, all miles was $1.66 per mile after all miles said and done. So unfortunately, a lot of deadhead in there, but you know, it happens. I'm still learning, still trying to get that up there some. I try to, my cost per mile usually fluctuates around $1.50. I'm trying to get my all miles to be above $1.75, somewhere in that area. Maybe one day I'll be able to get up to $2 a mile. Like I said, I'm still learning. So after fuel and all of Mercer's deductions, my settlements for the month end up being $10,090. So an average about $2,500 a week. Not bad, not great. Those are my real numbers for the month of August. All right, so let's go over my expenses. For the month of August, let's see here, I used 1,325 gallons of diesel fuel. My total fuel cost was $4,090. My trailer payment was $675. At Mercer, on the drive-by side, you rent a trailer, and it's about $675 a month. For licensing and permits for the month of August, I didn't pay anything because I've already paid up on my license permits for the year. Insurance, I paid $336, and that's all insurances. For LCN or satellite or communications, I paid $58. I did buy a tire last month, so that was $973. I spent $282.76 on oil last month. And when I say oil, that's oil and coolant. Unfortunately, I had a blown head gasket that I was dealing with last month, so I went through a lot of coolant, and my truck does use up a lot of oil also. So that's pretty high, but that is what it is. Because of that head gasket leak, I did end up having $3,307 in repairs and parts for the month of August. Now, I'll be honest, my maintenance is a little high. I'm operating a 2007 Freightliner Columbia Detroit 60 with a 14-liter, and unfortunately, maintenance-wise, it has been kicking my butt. I think I'm somewhere between 25 cents and 30 cents a mile for repairs and parts. Cell phone, I spent $400. That's a little high, but you know, I take care of my cell phone and my children's cell phone, and that is actual tax deductible. Card load, I spent $12.25. Every time that you load money onto your card, that's $1.75 Mercer charges you, and so it totaled out to $12.25 for the month of August. Pre-pass and scale, I spent $39.50 on scales last month. Tolls are a little high. Actually, that's probably about my average. Tolls are about $550.13. Parking, I paid $1,030 in parking last month. Let me tell you what happened there. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was at a 7-Eleven truck stop kind of place, whatever, and I pulled in. I saw the signs that said no drop trailers, and it said, you know, 7-Eleven parking only, which that's me. You know, I went inside, I purchased something, I stayed the night. In fine print, it said that you have to sign in. I went inside, I had a trucker mic on and everything. The guy never said anything to me about signing in. Now, ultimately, it is my fault, but that's how they get you. Guys came out and threw freaking one of those chain ropes on my tires. Woke up the next morning, and I'm just like, what the hell? And so I had to call the number and ask the guy how much was it going to be. He said $1,000. Now, I was actually going to get some bolt cutters sent out to me. There were some guys, there were some like tree cutters or whatever, and I was trying to talk to them and see if they had any bolt cutters, and the guy realized what I was doing. He came over there and started raising hell. He got on phone, act like he was calling some people over there, and he act like he was, you know, he said, yo man, y'all messing with my money. He was like, yo, bring the boys out here, bring the boys out here. And you know what, matter of fact, bring the heavy, bring the heavy. And when he said that, I was like, is my man talking about a gun? You know, and I realized that he was talking about the heavy tow truck. And it was two guys, you know, two young guys, kind of like, you know, some thugs or whatever. And I guess, you know, they try to strong arm me. I wasn't worried about the guys putting their hands on me, but at that point, I didn't want to take the chance of him calling the tow truck out there, because he was like, well, if I call a tow truck, it's gonna be $10,000. And I'm like, man, you know, so could I have talked him down, negotiated him down to probably $500, $250? Maybe, but at that point, you know, I guess I had already pissed him off, so that probably was not going to happen. If I had a pair of bolt cutters on me, I would have just cut the lock on there off and went about my business. Lesson learned. It is what it is. Don't let it happen to you. It's very prevalent in Charlotte, I want to say Atlanta, and maybe Miami or something like that. But it's a legal scam. You know, it's a legal scam, and you can't call the cops. They're not going to do anything about it. And of course, they try to strong arm. That's why they get two, you know, young guys and whatever. I mean, like I said, I really wasn't worried about that, but I was like, okay, you know, this $1,000, pay this $1,000 is just not worth the trouble of seeing what else might escalate from this, you know. So I went ahead and paid the $1,000, so that kind of hurt me a little bit. Office supplies for the month of August was $351. That included some payments that I made to subscriptions. And then miscellaneous operating expenses were $243. I paid myself through a payroll account. And in that payroll account, obviously, you know, whatever the payroll costs, and then whatever the taxes that I had to match on that, I put that in miscellaneous operating expense. Food and beverage, I spent $615.51 on food and beverage. That's a little high. I did a lot of eating out last month. My refrigerator wasn't working. My inverter had, you know, crapped out on me. Finally got that fixed, so I can probably bring that down to between 300 and 450 if I'm watching that. So it's something you definitely want to keep on. I mean, you keep up with your eating expenses, or you can do the I think it's $69 per diem tax deductible. Either way, you know, you want to do it, but I like to keep up so I can see what I'm actually spending on food out here on the road. All right, so for the month of August, I paid myself $3,432. That's an average of like $800 and something a week. Not a lot, but I pay myself very low, so that way I can put a lot of money aside for maintenance and repairs, and then time off down the road. And so now I'm going to break it down per mile. My expenses per mile for the month of August. I got 7.5 miles per gallon last month out of the truck. Let's see here. So fuel cost me 41 cents per mile. Total trailer cost was 7 cents per mile. Total insurance cost was 3 cents per mile. Total satellite was 0.01 cent per mile. I spent 10 cents per mile in tires, 3 cents per mile in oil, 33 cents per mile in parts and repairs. Total cell phone was 4 cents per mile, 6 cents per mile in tolls, 10 cents per mile in parking. Office was 4 cents per mile, and then total miscellaneous operating cost was 2 cents per mile, for a total operating cost of $1.24 per mile. And then you take what I spent in food and beverage, that was 6 cents per mile, and then you take what I paid myself, and that was 34 cents per mile, and you get a total of $1.64 per mile was my total operating cost for the month of August. My net per mile was $1.60 per mile, all miles. So in essence, I only made 2 cents per mile profit for the month of August. Those are realistic numbers. Those are my realistic numbers. They're not great, but it is what it is. This is after me paying myself also. So you have to take that into consideration. So just like anywhere, you can go anywhere for the most part, and you can do really good, you can do really bad. It's about how you run your business. My goal for the rest of the year is to be above $1.75 after all miles ran, and to try to get my expenses down to around $1.40, $1.45. and I think I can do that. Every month there's always something that kind of happens, which that's a part of the game. But the $1,000 tow bill or $1,000 that I had to pay to have them remove the chain, you know, that's on me. That's a mistake on my part. So you have to try to make less mistakes like that, maybe get better fuel mileage, spend less money on food. All these little things count. And when you look at the end of the month, you can probably save yourself 10 cents a mile in expenses just by cutting your costs and paying attention to your bottom line. And that can be the difference between making a profit and not making a profit. So what are your thoughts on Mercer pay or owner-operator pay, period? I know some people will say that they are making more money as company drivers, and that's fine. For me, it's not about how much money I'm making right now. It's about something that I'm trying to build for the future. Maybe add more trucks or possibly buy my time back, where yeah, I'm not getting paid a lot of money, but I'm able to spend a lot more time at home. If you're thinking about becoming an owner-operator, I encourage you to do the research yourself and ask questions, watch YouTube videos, and be able to decipher between what's real and what's not. A lot of guys will get on YouTube and they'll tell you what their gross is, and they'll tell you about their great weeks, whatever. They won't tell you about the bad weeks, and they also won't tell you about all the expenses that come along with being an owner-operator. All right, somebody else's expenses might be a lot lower than mine. They might have a $2,000 a month truck payment but don't have as much maintenance, and so they, you know, might be doing better than me as far as their expenses go, and that can be the difference maker. And also miles per gallon. My truck averages about 6.2, 6.5 miles per gallon. I can drive a little slower and probably get that to 7, but these newer trucks are getting like 7.5, 8 miles per gallon without even trying. And so that, again, you know, that's where they're making up a lot of profit. They can dead hit a lot further without it costing them as much. And so all of those little things make a difference. You know, older equipment, newer equipment, driving fast, driving slow, idling, not idling. There's so many different things, but I encourage you to do your research. If you like this video, consider subscribing. Go ahead and hit that like button, and check out some of my other videos about Mercer transportation owner-operator pay. And as always, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep. Hard times don't last, hard truckers do. And last but not least, stay smooth, my friends.